Yeah, we are so happy to be with you guys. This is a really important and exciting topic. So I think you guys be ready to take notes. We're going to send the slides out, but there's going to be so much other things we're going to cover. As I pull up my slides, speaking of slides, I'm going to hand it over to Melissa.
Yes. Okay. So if you're multitasking, if you are just kind of on autopilot right now, I want to tell you to come and engage with us because we are going to shake things up. Jesse and I both have 3 kiddos, I think under the age of 8. And we always tell everyone, we tell them like, hey, it's time to shake your sillies out. Well, we're going to tell you the opposite right now. We're going to tell you to shake your seriousness out. We're going to tell you to shake your work out a little bit. And all of kind of the baggage that you're bringing with you, maybe from the workday, kind of maybe your strategy mindset, all of that. And we want you to come and engage with us and bring your creativity and come and test your knowledge about all things influencer marketing. And Jesse, would it be okay if I maybe tested you right out the gate before we even introduced ourselves fully and formally to this crew of people joining us?
Oh man, well, I guess so. I'm a little nervous because I should know this and I may not, but let's do it. It'll be fun.
Yes, it will be. So I'm sure everyone on the call is hearing all of the ways that they should be on every single social media platform. They should have a TikTok account. You should be engaging here and there and everywhere. And maybe you know a lot about influencer marketing and maybe you know a little bit about influencer marketing. Well, don't worry, you're going to know a lot more about influencer marketing by the end of today. But for those of you who think you might know quite a bit, here's a chance to jump in and find out how much you really do know and have some fun with us. So not only that, but you're going to get the chance to maybe win a couple of really fun prizes right out the gate. We're going to do this really quickly. So hang in here with us, have some fun, test your knowledge, get those creative juices flowing even before we jump into the content. Is everybody ready? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play 20 questions. We've got 4 different brands that we're going to try to uncover. And we've got Jesse's going to get the opportunity to ask me 5 questions per brand. He has promised that he's not going to look at the chat box. Okay. So what's going to happen is he's going to get the chance to ask me 5 questions about each of these brands. You can see that we've got 4 different clues that we're going to start off with. And I'm going to let anybody who's on the webinar right now be guessing alongside Jesse. You can't ask questions. He's the only one who's going to get to interact with me and ask questions. But if as he is asking those questions, you think you know what the brand is, then you can put it in the chat box. And if you're the first person to correctly guess the brand, then I have gone out and I have purchased a product from each of these brands and I will mail it to you. You've got my email right there on the screen. And if you're the first person to correctly guess the brand, I will call you out. You send me an email and I'm going to mail you a gift from that brand. How cool is that? So basically, Jesse, what I need for you to do is take a look at this. I've got a brand you can drink, a brand you can eat, a brand that's bitter, and a brand that's better. And I did a little bit of research and I found this really cool media marketing organization. And they said that these brands had some of the top TikTok influencer marketing campaigns in 2020.
Okay.
So let's start with a brand you can drink. Ask me 5 questions.
Okay.
And let's see if we can figure it out.
Okay. Can you buy this drink for under $3 or $5? We'll say $5. Yes or no? Okay.
You can.
Does this drink have alcohol in it?
No, it does not.
Does this drink have caffeine in it?
No, it does not.
Ooh, okay. Is this drink water? Some kind of water?
No, it is not.
How
many is that? 3?
Is it is it something that you can get at a restaurant?
Possibly.
Okay.
Okay, that was 5. You have.
Okay.
That was 5. So everybody else, be putting some guesses in the chat box because you want me to mail this to you. Now you have to go ahead and guess the brand.
Oh, Gatorade.
Close.
Okay. What is it?
It was Kool-Aid.
Oh, it has aid in the name. Okay. I felt like I was
Yes,
getting there.
so you were really close. So Kool-Aid, get this, guys. Kool-Aid had a hashtag, oh yeah, Christmas with Lil Jon contest. So in 2020, that was one of the top influencer marketing campaigns. Could you even imagine?
Wow.
So nobody guessed it. So I get to keep this here at my house and make this for my kids.
Oh,
So
everybody's
let's
so
go
sad.
on. All right, so let's move on. A brand you can eat. 5 questions. Go, Jesse.
Okay. Is it a dessert?
They might have dessert, but it's not known for dessert.
So the brand makes multiple types of food, it sounds like? Yes or no? Do they make multiple types of food?
Yes.
Okay. Can you buy this at Walmart?
No.
Oh, okay. Is it a restaurant of some kind?
Yes.
Ooh, is it fast food?
Sort of.
Okay. Do they ever have drive-throughs?
No.
Okay. I've got to guess now, huh?
Yes, you did.
Never have drive-throughs. Chipotle.
You got it right. And so did Emily Polly. Emily Polly, send me an email to melissa@brancheslab.com. You got a $20 Chipotle gift card.
That's amazing. The reason I got that is because I know that they're good with influencers on TikTok, not because my 5 questions were that helpful.
Okay, so they had this awesome campaign last Halloween called the Boo, B-O-O, Burrito Challenge. So Emily, that's amazing. Send me an email at melissa@brancheslab.com with your home address, and I'm going to pop this bad boy into the mail for you. So how fun. Okay, we're only going to do one more right now. I'm going to save the last one for the end of the webinar. Okay, so let's move on to a brand that's bitter. A brand that's bitter.
Bitter. I don't know. Is it something you eat?
It sort of.
Is it something you drink?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm gonna let you
okay, sort of. Is it medicine of some kind?
Yes.
Okay. Because you sort of eat and drink that. Is it medicine that you take when you, I don't know, have like allergies or something?
Sort of.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it like cough syrup of some kind?
Yes.
Okay, getting close. I play this game a lot with my kids. Cough syrup. You'd think I would know. I can't think of any cough syrup brands right now. Someone in the chat, now's your chance to jump on this cough syrup brand. I got nothing. I can't think of one cough syrup.
Nobody has named it in the chat right now. So keep going.
Cough syrup. Like I can see the little red bottle. What is that called? What is that called? Okay, I got nothing. Does the yeah, tell me what it is.
Mucinex.
It's
Mucinex. So I get to keep the Mucinex DM at my house. So it's the Mucinex, and they did a hashtag too sick to be sick challenge. So I'm not sure what that was about exactly, but it was one of the top influencer campaigns on TikTok. So y'all go to TikTok after this and look up the hashtag burrito challenge, the too sick to be sick challenge, and the oh yeah Christmas as your first little bit of homework, and enjoy what some of these creative, cool influencer marketing campaigns. I mean, did you ever think, when you think of traditional influencer marketing, that that's what it would look like, is Mucinex cough syrup, Kool-Aid, and Chipotle?
Can I just say something?
Yes.
If you work at a nonprofit, you have a competitive advantage, not maybe financially, but overall those brands with your influencer marketing, because you get to talk about something that is life-changing and transformative and so meaningful. And no offense to those brands, but the Kool-Aid's not exactly life-changing or transformative. And yet, they can have a lot of success with these strategies. So you have a competitive advantage in some ways. So lean into that. Okay, back to you, Melissa.
All right. So the last one that we're going to do at the very end, I'm telling you, I'm not saying that these were throwaways, but maybe they were throwaways. The last one is really good. We're going to give it away at the end of the webinar. So stick around all the way to the end. You're going to want to get it. I promise you. And let's keep going.
Okay. All right. I want to ask you guys a question. Put it in the chat now that we're all active in the chat. Good job. Let us know on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with your current marketing results? Influencer strategies are just one of many marketing strategies. And we work with nonprofits all the time on marketing, lots of things, email, social, you name it. And I'm just curious, where are you guys at right now? So just kind of help us kind of get a taste of where you're coming in. So 1 would be, the thumbs down, not so great. 10 is we are crushing it, growing so fast we can't keep up. Okay, 2, 3, 3, 4, 6, 3. Ooh, okay, guys. I'm only seeing 1 coming in over 5 right now. So that's probably why you're here. You're like, we got to do something different. It's not working. So that's really helpful to know. Feel free to throw your number in if you haven't yet, but helpful to see that. Okay, we got a 5. Okay, so good to know. And then we also have another question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how successful is your organization at consistently reaching new audiences? And so another way to put this would be top of the funnel. Are you getting new people into your organization that eventually lead maybe to donors or volunteers or advocates? Are you getting new awareness, which is another way to put the top of the funnel strategy? So 1 to 10, seeing, okay, mostly under 5, some around kind of average. You guys are doing okay. Getting new people, but not always the right audience. Yes, that is a common issue. Okay. Marissa said 7. That's encouraging. Good. But still some room for growth. Well, the reason we ask that, and you'll hear this throughout, is that influencer marketing is one of the best, if not the best, way to attract brand new audiences that have maybe never heard of your organization or never engaged. There's a few strategies for this, but this is one of our favorites. And so if that's something you want to grow in, then you're at the right place. Okay, let's introduce ourselves, Melissa. That way these people aren't wondering who in the world are they talking to, now that we've learned a little bit about them. So my name's Jesse Lane, and I had the privilege of starting this company, Branches Mission Lab, which has also developed this education platform where we help nonprofits grow. We call nonprofits good makers because you're out there making good every day. And the main things that we do are help nonprofits tell their story to the masses and then raise more funds faster. And so, yeah, would love to share more, but for the sake of time, I'll keep moving. We also created this course after years of experimentation in the nonprofit and marketing space, myself, and then after starting Branches, we felt like we had so many people asking, how are we getting the results that we're seeing? That we felt like the only way to get it out to the masses was to actually create a course where anybody could come and learn these strategies. So this is the marketing anatomy of a growing nonprofit, and we created that for that reason. And then, of course, I'm a girl dad with 3 beautiful girls, and I literally can't miss an opportunity. If you've ever watched a webinar, I'm always going to show a picture of my girls because I'm so proud of them. Aren't they cute? You may hear my daughter crying in the background as we try to get her down for her nap. Mabel, but this is Nora, Ruby, and Mabel are my 3 girls. So Melissa, tell us a little bit about yourself too.
Yes. Okay. So this is my family right here in the middle. And I love a great Halloween costume and a good family Halloween costume. I love sharing those things on social media and just having a whole lot of fun with it. So those are kind of the redeeming moments in all of the chaos of parenting and having 3 kiddos. So that's my family right there. And beyond that, I have a very kind of non-traditional marketing background. So Jesse has a lot of great deep expertise in marketing, and I have a lot of just wide variety of experience. So I have a background as a nonprofit executive director. So I've sat in the nonprofit world, but I've also worked in government. So I was a foreign service officer for the United States Department of State, and I've managed a grant portfolio of $30 million in foreign assistance programming. And so I've sat on the side of the funder. So if you've ever wondered about what goes on in the minds of funders and foundations and governments, and how do I write grants to get more funding, I have some expertise in that area as well. And I've also worked as a small business owner, and I just love the power of harnessing, best practices. I love that saying, don't despise small beginnings. The things that make you successful at a small business owner level or at a huge governmental level are all the same. Just clear and consistent messaging and connecting with your audience and being sincere and really being passionate about your cause and your mission. So all of that, those are the things I'm passionate about. And that's a little bit about me. So before we get going much further, I think, Jesse, we need to get these folks downloading their tools.
Okay.
Is that our next step here?
Yeah,
So,
can you explain why that might be helpful later.
yes. Okay, so you get a free download today with a lot of different tools, and one of those tools you are going to actually use. This is an interactive webinar where we're going to help you complete this great worksheet that we've got for you. You're not going to walk away from this webinar with just a bunch of words and a bunch of ideas. You're going to walk away with an actual piece, an actual resource that's going to be completed that you can take immediately and go do something with it. So if everyone will go right now to brancheslab.com/IM-kit. The IM is for influencer marketing. So brancheslab.com/IM-kit, then you will be able to, do you want them to enter their email or to just click the down? Go ahead and enter your name and email.
Yeah, if they do that, then they'll get the kit emailed to them and they can use that later on in the webinar when we get to that part. Yep.
Perfect.
And if for some reason it doesn't work for you, you can use a spreadsheet on your own or something. We'll find another way for you to participate. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about influencer marketing. We're pulling it directly from the course I mentioned, which is module 7. We call it How to Reach New Audiences with Influential Allies. And you can see we've got 5 lessons. You can see the video links on those. And obviously we don't have time to go through all of that, but what we've done, Melissa and I have pulled out what we feel like are the most essential pieces, the things that you need to know the most. And so we want to start by just kind of answering maybe some things that you're wondering, which is, why is everyone talking about influencer marketing? You probably heard it around quite a bit, and there's a good reason for that. And we want to unpack that for you. It's almost like the Oprah situation. It's like everyone's an influencer, and so it's like you're hearing about it on the news, you're hearing about it on social media, and you're probably hearing marketing people talk about it a lot. And there's a reason. It's a valid thing, and this is just a Google Trends, and you can see this compared to some of the other marketing. And sorry, this is a little blurry, but this influencer marketing is trending, and the interest level is through the roof of recent. And that again is because there's a lot of it's like this new channel that has so much huge potential, and so out of nowhere it's just exploded over the last several years. So why all the hype? Well, there's a few reasons. And one of the biggest ones, if you think about it, is there's just been this huge power shift from the few people, those who held the keys, if you will, to the masses. And now so many people out there can have a really significant influence. And that was just not true before social media, before the internet. And so it's remarkable how that has changed marketing. Next, you see that influencer marketing is fast, and everybody wants things fast, right? And it's faster than most marketing strategies. If you compare it to, for instance, like SEO, where it just takes months of doing groundwork, eventually you're going to get results, but it takes a while. And the same can be true for a lot of other marketing strategies and brand building, but influencer marketing can be pretty fast. It also is becoming more formalized. And so what I mean by that is there's certain best practices getting developed, there's new software, there's things happening to make it easier and make it scalable. And that is just building the hype even more. And it's one of the most affordable ways. So not only is it fast, but it's affordable, and it gets you those new audiences. So compared to, for instance, like social media advertising or traditional advertising, which are great ways to get new audiences, the influencer marketing strategies can be even more affordable and just as faster and get you those new audiences. And then just bottom line is it can drive results, like real results in a lot of different types of results, whether that's a new and growing audience online, social media, leads, or for nonprofits, donors at the end of the day that become advocates. Influencer marketing can do all of that. And so there's a reason for all the hype. But you may be also thinking, yeah, I've heard some not so great things about influencer marketing too. And so there are a few issues that are worth mentioning. I'll say that sometimes the definition is off. We define influencer marketing a little broader than just Instagram, influencers with lots of followers. That is a real thing, and that's a part of influencer marketing. But it's bigger than that, right? It can be an organization locally that you partner with that has a following. It could be an author or a musician. It doesn't always have to be a social media influencer, okay? And so think about that broader definition. And there is just a lot of icky things happening out there in influencer marketing, fake followers, people that are kind of doing things in a manipulative way or exaggerating their statistics. And so, of course, we always recommend that you measure and experiment to get good results. But, all in all, we just want to say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, which I just want to, warn you that that's happening. A lot of people are doing that. I've talked to nonprofits who said, oh, we don't want to do influencer marketing. I've heard some bad things about that. Well, that's like saying we don't want to use, email because there's some spammers out there. Well, that doesn't mean all email is bad. And the same with influencer marketing. It's a tool that can be used for good or not so good. So yeah, as you can see in this definition that we've got here, it's just a strategy to grow reach by inspiring, partnering with, or paying influencers who have a platform to spread their message to your message to their audiences. And so pretty obvious, pretty easy. Most of you probably know that, but I think it helps to remember what exactly we're talking about here. You might have heard about this phrase micro influencer, and oftentimes they are really great partners. And what that just means is they're not a celebrity status with millions of followers, but they do have influence. And sometimes they can have a very engaged following. And because of that engagement, they can actually drive more results than people with a lot more followers. And so this is oftentimes a great place to partner. And so this may be someone with 5,000 followers, 20,000 followers, but they are engaged. They're actually responding and commenting and sharing. That could be a great partner for you. So they're less expensive. They're easier to engage with and communicate with, and still can produce great results for your nonprofit. Melissa, feel free to jump in if you have anything. Otherwise, I'll keep moving.
You're good. Let's keep going.
All right. So you might have heard some of these tiers. A lot of people just talk about micro influencers and the influencers at large. But we thought this graph was kind of helpful just to think through the different levels. We won't spend too much time there. I mentioned this, micro influencers, they can be really helpful. And so we recommend looking for influencers like this that have built trust with their following, that are really relevant to your brand. We'll talk more about that later. And will kind of get behind you with all of their passion and advocate for you with everything they've got, versus someone maybe that's got more followers, but they're just going to put one little post out there and then move on. They're not really got their heart into it because maybe they're not aligned as much, or they've got just too many other things. It doesn't have the value for them. And so these micro influencers can be a great place to start. And so bottom line, don't discount influencer marketing just because some aren't doing it well. Just because you see some stuff out there that you don't like, don't discount it. Don't throw it out. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's the picture I was thinking we had. So don't make that mistake. It's got so much potential. And here's the thing, maybe you're on this webinar and you're thinking, well, I'm here. I obviously believe in influencer marketing, but what I just said, it may be something your boss needs to hear or your board needs to hear. And that is, yes, there's some things happening that aren't good, but believe me, we still can make influencer marketing work for us, be effective, be aligned with our values. And so maybe your boss, your board, someone else needs to hear that little thing that I said.
I also think too, like you may think there's no way to make this work within the nonprofit context. But I think the exercise at the beginning like showed us that there is so much creativity. I mean, who would have thought that, Lil Jon working with Kool-Aid, or, partnering up burritos and Halloween and Christmas campaigns and all of these different things. And so just, really approach this with an open mind as we're moving through, and don't throw that baby out with the bathwater just yet. We're going to come up with some really creative strategies, and it may be something that you would have never considered previously.
Yep. Man, we just thought these were funny. So obviously we don't want to annoy people with your partnerships. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And if you do it right, that won't happen. And so we talked about this, remember, influencer marketing is a top of the funnel strategy. You really need to have the rest of your journey and audience in the funnel figured out. So if you looked at our course, we have 8 modules, and this is number 7. The first 6 really matter. So for instance, if you don't have a website that converts people, or an email to follow up and nurture them, or social media that engages them, then your influencer marketing, even if it's amazing, it may fall flat. You may get a lot of people at the top of the funnel, but they never make it to the bottom, right? So just keep that in mind. Obviously, our course is a resource you could look at, but just if you don't have some of those other things figured out, it's going to be a waste of energy to get all these people on the top of the funnel if your funnel has holes in it, right?
Yeah.
So don't forget that as you think about this.
It's kind of like influencer marketing. A way to think about it for me is this. Imagine if someone is like, I'm about to give you, or your organization, $1 million, but I'm going to give it to you in quarters. And you haven't prepared. You haven't showed up with baskets or bags or buckets or ways to pick up all of that $1 million in quarters. And if you don't have the rest of your funnel really laid out really well, then somebody could be trying to send all of that wealth of resource your way. But if you don't have a way to pick it up and carry it back home or carry it back to your organization, then what good does it do you? You're going to have to leave some of it behind. So it's really important to think about the rest of your funnel, and think about how are you going to convert all of those followers ultimately to, for nonprofits, it's a lot of times about how to get them to become donors ultimately, or to become engaged in some other way. And so, and if you're sitting here and you're going, what do you even mean a funnel? That's okay. We can talk about that later on. There's a lot of resources that we're going to talk about toward the end as well that might be helpful. So, just wanted to put that out there.
Good. So yeah, bottom line here, they're going to bring attention. Are you prepared to retain them? It's great question. So got to have those foundations in place. I mentioned this earlier. You guys have an advantage as a nonprofit to tell stories, and that works so great in influencer partnerships and social media, to bring passion and to really connect with people in an emotional level. And there's actually less competition out there because a lot of nonprofits haven't gotten into this game yet. They're not working with influencers. And so you could be still early to the scene. And so also a lot of influencers will do it for free, even though I believe in paying influencers should. A lot of them, they're so passionate about what you do. Maybe they're donating already or they're volunteering. They're happy to also advocate for you online. And that's great. Obviously, it's an advantage that you have as a nonprofit. There's lots of examples out there. If you just even Google around, you'll find hundreds, but of nonprofits and taking advantage of this. So YouTube gamers raising millions of dollars, influencers partnering with big nonprofits and small out there as well. And so lots and lots of examples if you're looking for inspiration. We wanted to give a specific example that we know really well and start to get into the nuts and bolts about how this all happened. And so NWA Gives is a client of ours, and it's a nonprofit here locally. And so in 2020, we partnered with dozens of influencers as a part of our marketing strategy. And through those partnerships, we saw over 1 million impressions of our content, and we didn't actually have to pay them. And we probably would have been willing to. We didn't have much of a budget, but they were so passionate about the local causes that would be supported by this. They jumped in without any payment. And so We did say thank you in generous ways, but it was a really affordable way to get the word out. And so we made it super simple for them to share. You can see the heart on the hand with NW Gives in there. We made it easy and fun for them to do that. And all we did was have a group Zoom call that we invited them to and said, hey, we're going to meet up with other influencers in the area. And we invited them to that. Not everybody said yes, but a good portion of them said yes. They came to the Zoom call. Of course, we worked our relationships and our network that we knew locally. Of course, you're always going to benefit from those relationships. And then a lot of times influencers will invite other influencers to help your brand if they believe in that. And so it really was a pretty simple, cost-effective way. And they shared on social media. Some shared multiple times. Of course, we gave them resources to do that and ideas, but we also left it open for them to have some flexibility in that. And then in 2021, Melissa actually was really involved in that one. So I'll let you share about this one.
Yeah. So first of all, Northwest Arkansas Gives is a local regional giving day. And so we know that everyone's kind of coming from different parts and places in the world. And so you may have one of these where you're from. I know that there's like a North Texas Giving Day, and I think there's one in Colorado as well. And so our agency was the agency that had the responsibility for getting the word out and doing all the marketing around that. And so, one of the things that we know about social media that there's both kind of the good side and the bad side is this FOMO factor, right? Everybody knows about FOMO. It's the fear of missing out. And social media has been particularly challenging because you get on social media, you look at it and you feel like you're kind of missing out, right? But that actually can be used for a little bit of good, because a lot of times they're influencers because they're really savvy. They're really well connected, and they like to be right in the middle of all the action. And so talking about kind of like FOMO, that was just a really kind of great way to say, hey, we know that this influencer and this influencer, they're getting involved in the cause. Do you want to get involved in the cause? And a lot of times when you've got these local influencers and everybody's kind of doing it, the other local leaders want to do it too. So it's not necessarily that you have to go out and you have to feel kind of bad for asking. That these folks who are really social media savvy, if the other folks are doing it, don't you agree, Jesse? Like they want to kind of be in on the action too. Yep. And so if you're doing something fun and you've got a really fun campaign, especially like with the heart on the hand, a lot of times these social media influencers don't necessarily need payment when it comes to like a nonprofit cause. They like actually feel really privileged that you approach them and that you ask them, and they get to be kind of one of the few in the know that there's this cool, great campaign, this great movement that's going on, and you came to them and you asked them, and they, you affirmed that they have this influence. And so that's part of our strategy. We invited them to this Zoom call. On the next slide, we talk about this rally that we did. And this was right kind of when we thought we were coming a little bit more out of COVID. This was in April. And so not only were we trying to get these influencers to engage their digital audience and their kind of with regard to this cause, but we wanted them to engage in something in person, and we wanted to do it really safely. So we believe that there's a really broad definition of influencer. There's your traditional social media influencers, but we also think that a lot of different types of people and even businesses have influence. So we were able to go out to another local nonprofit, an arts center, who gave us the use of their space for free for this cause. And they promoted it on some of their social media channels. But we invited influencers and the press to come to this rally, and we made sure that it was really well set up for social media. So we had a great step and repeat backdrop. We had the heart on the hand. We made it really the place that people want to be, with really clear calls to action. We had our hashtags ready to go. And we let our influencers know that we would love for them to come. Had free food. That's always a great thing to do. And just really tried to engage with lots of different people across many segments of society, so that social media was really flooded with our cause. So anything else you'd want to add to that, Jesse?
No, I think that's exactly right. So just think, yeah, radio stations, media, that can be considered influencers. But we had, yeah, you can sometimes churches jump involved, or local organizations that care about what you're doing. Businesses oftentimes have a lot of influence. Maybe it's a local coffee shop or something. So again, keep your definition broad. And if you, our local organization can have some sort of safe event when the time is right, then it's a great way to make Instagram worthy pictures from the day. So love that idea. So hopefully you're sold on the idea. So what makes for an actual successful partnership? And so let's jump into some of that. So we've got these principles as our primary kind of core principles for any influencer marketing partnership. And the first one is start with your relationships. When you're looking for an influencer partner, you always want to start with relationships. And maybe it's a friend of a friend, or a friend of a friend of a friend, but you're still working those relationships. And the reason is that you have trust already there established, and it's going to make the likelihood of a partnership way higher. And so that doesn't mean you only have to work through your relationships. You can certainly cold reach out to an influencer, but a relationship is always going to be the most effective. And you're maybe thinking, I don't have relationships with influencers, or maybe I only know one or two. Well, if you add all your staff together and you add all your board together, and together you brainstorm, who do we know, or who do we know that we know? I guarantee you could come up with a list of 20 or more influencers. And so we're going to actually start that here in a second, but start with those relationships. And even if throughout that partnership, treat it like a relationship. These are real people, right? And don't treat it just like a business deal. Treat it with like a relationship. And so for this NWA Gives example, I've kind of gotten to know the influencers that we're working with, built friendships with them, and it's made the partnerships deeper and deeper every year. And so it's really cool to see that. Next, prioritize the passion alignment, right? This is huge. So if an influencer is actually passionate about what you do, it's going to make the partnership and the promotion way more successful. If they're not, and they're faking it, it's going to be not authentic, and it's going to be not as effective. People will notice and not respond as well. So look for influencers who have already shown that they care about what you do. If they donated, or maybe they just follow you and engage with your content on social media, or partnered with you in the past, obviously they're a great place to start. If they're not, but you see something in their feed, something in their messaging that shows you, you know what, I think they may be passionate about what we do, I just need to introduce them to our cause, that's also a great place to start. But you don't want to go find someone just that has 1 million followers but really doesn't care about what you do. It can work and bring results, but it's not a long-term partnership that's going to really be successful. And then I always say, think through the lens of, is this a favor of a friend, or is this an actual partnership where there's mutual value exchange happening here? So you just kind of need to know that. If you're just asking a favor, that's fine. Favors can sometimes be great, but just know that that's what you're doing. Otherwise, if it's reaching out to someone, they may expect to be paid. And then if that's the case, I would ask certain things from them. Be really clear about what you're asking them to do, how many times you want them to post, and then ask them to help you measure the results. You're paying them, right? There should be some of that back and forth. So that's a partnership. With a favor, it's a little harder to ask for all of that. You can, but certainly you're just grateful for anything that they will do, right? So just know how you're kind of approaching this as you go in. Both can work and both can be effective, but just be aware. And then look for the triple win. We're going to talk more about this in a second, so I won't, I'll leave you wondering what that is. And then ultimately, just keep it simple. I got to tell you a short story when I messed this up. I was working one of my first influencer partnerships with a client, and we had all these great ideas. We did a brainstorming session, and we were like, we could do this with the influencers, we could do this, and we could do that. And then we had all these great ideas, and they were good. I guarantee they were good, but it was way too complicated. And so we went to the influencers with these ideas and they were like, what? What are you asking us to do? And so keep it simple, because you don't want to overwhelm them or their audiences with too much, anything complicated. All right, so you might be wondering, how do we find the right partners? And so we use these 3 filters to kind of ask these questions. And so, are they sincerely passionate about our cause? And that makes for an authentic alignment. Do they have a platform with an engaged audience that has overlap with our target audience? If they don't, they're not really an influencer, at least not an influencer of your target audience. So is there overlap between who you're trying to reach and who they're already reaching? If there is, that's a good fit. If they don't have a following, they're not really an influencer. Maybe they are working toward that, but they're not there yet. And if they don't have an engaged audience, even if they have a lot of following, but they're not engaged, then they're not really having much influence. And so there's a few things you got to look for there. And then finally, do you really want to associate with their brand? And there is risk included with really anybody. And so keep that in mind. I think it's worth it oftentimes, but if you partner with someone that maybe doesn't align with your values, or is kind of someone that you don't really feel like is a good fit for what you stand for, and then that could really look poorly on you if something happened, or they really made the headlines for something not so great the week after your partnership. So just keep that in mind as you think through who you want to partner with. All right, so if you just want to simplify influencer marketing into 3 steps, which we love 3 steps around here, we would say here they are. Number 1, make a list of potential allies of influence. We use the word allies interchangeably with influencers, and just brainstorm, get with some people on your team, and just make as long of a list as possible. Dream big, think about your friendships, your relationships, and make a list. Number 2, look for the wins, these triple wins that we're going to talk about here. What are the wins for the influencer? What are your wins? What are the wins for the audience? And approach the influencer, reach out, make contact with them, and have some ideas, the clear ideas, but also keep your mind and hands open to what they might want to do. Because remember, they're an influencer for a reason. They may have a really creative idea, and you want to be open to that, even if it's not what you had in mind. And then step 3, you always want to, of course, execute, but then measure the results. Did it work? And if it didn't, don't be too discouraged. Maybe you just need to tweak some things, change a little bit of how you did it, and then try again and learn from it. So it's just keep tweaking and testing. Okay, so you may be wondering how to do step number 2. So we actually have a little template. It's real simple. It's an example of an email that we literally sent to an influencer that resulted in a great partnership. And so it's in the kit. If you haven't already downloaded the kit, hopefully you already did. But if you missed this earlier, you might want this because it's got that template to show you how to one example of how you can contact an influencer, and breaks that down. So, which is again, step 2 here is approaching the influencer. And so this will help you with that. Okay, so Melissa, do you want to take this and walk us through this real quick? I know we don't have a lot of time, so.
So I think at this point, everyone hopefully they went to the website, downloaded the kit. And if you can go ahead and open up the Triple Win Influencer Planning Worksheet. And if you didn't have that, or you don't want to leave and come back, grab a pencil and paper, grab a spreadsheet, grab a note, whatever you want to do. And we are going to make a list of your potential allies, and we're going to start thinking through wins for their audience. So this is really going to be helpful stuff so that you walk away feeling like you are empowered to start executing a plan today, that it's not just some ideas floating around, but that you are walking away with a plan. So Jesse, go ahead and flip to the next slide for me. And what I want everyone to do is whatever it is that you have closest to you, hopefully it's the spreadsheet, but if it's something else, that's fine. List 5 potential allies and keep going if you can. Think through who this could potentially be. So you're going to ignore the other columns for right now. We're going to talk about the triple win here in just a second, but I want you to start thinking through right now in a real way, your organization and who the potential allies could be. And Jesse and I thought that because this is interactive, that we would be willing to have a few of you maybe throw out the names of your organization, and we'll pick one or two and we'll kind of ideate together about who some potential influencers could be.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to drop a name of your organization in the chat box.
Maybe what kind of organization you are too, like what you do, that'd be helpful.
We will make a list together. And even if we're not talking about your organization, we just thought we could demonstrate a little bit about how we walk through this process. So the first one that we see, we've got Clean Water International. We believe in every child's right to clean water. So Jesse, you worked, we've talked with a couple of different organizations recently about clean water. And so any ideas about who some potential allies could be for that organization?
So anybody, if there's a company that makes water, that'd be a good partner. Someone locally that, if you're a local organization, it sounds like international, so globally, someone that maybe, you said child, so maybe someone that has children, an influencer that has children, that maybe is a great photographer and that can capture stories well, because obviously that can really motivate and move people. So maybe a photographer with kids that has a following and has given to clearly charitable in nature. That'd be a great place to start. Maybe you've got someone through your board or someone that you know of like that. Just an idea.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And just think and look at the people who are already following you and already engaging with you. And one thing that I really like to do is, if there's somebody that you're thinking about would be a really great fit, is in a really honest and natural and organic way, go and start following them and start engaging with them and their content. And, not in sort of this like ulterior motive way, but just go, and social media is social. Go and be social. You can't always have this like one-sided relationship. You also have influence. Each of you and your organizations has influence. And so you can reciprocate that influence back. If someone's giving you some of their influence, you can use your social media platforms to give back influence. And that's another way to make sure that you feel like it's a good alignment with the partnership. If it's not a partner that you feel like you could potentially share or highlight on your platforms, then it maybe isn't necessarily a really strong partnership for you in terms of them sharing about your organization. So that's another good kind of test. Last one, really quickly, the women's resource. We help women and girls make choices towards becoming independent, productive, and financially stable. One of my favorite follows is Elvest. Now that might be really difficult to get them to highlight you guys because they are a pretty big account, but any influencer who is consistently talking about women and women's empowerment, I talk about that a lot on my social media account. And again, this is where you could tap into those more micro influencers. I have around 2,500 followers, and I have large organizations like the Ad Council and Sesame Street who've reached out to me for partnerships recently, because they really see that there's a lot of value in these kind of nano or really small micro influencers. And so don't feel like you're looking for people always with 10,000 or 500,000 plus followers. Look for people who have a highly engaged audience and who are highly aligned with your organization's mission.
Right. It's good. It'd be really fun to keep going, but we don't have time. But if you want to email us, we would love to just keep the conversation going after the webinar. So truly mean that. Reach out to us. For the sake of time, we want to keep moving, but just know that if you're struggling to come up with ideas, and we already mentioned this, just take time to explore your network. Carve out an hour on the calendar, say, I'm going to brainstorm for the whole hour. And I guarantee you'll get to a list of 20, 30, maybe 50 potential influencers. Okay, here's some questions that will help you kind of brainstorm. And in that spreadsheet, in the kit, you can get some other kind of idea starters right there embedded in the spreadsheet. And don't limit to just social media influencers. We've talked about this a lot. There's so many others. We've got a long list here. But it's not just Instagrammers, right? There's so many other types of influencers that you could be reaching out to. So the other thing we want to warn you is think micro, but also think big. I've been surprised sometimes at the yeses that we've gotten when we just ask. So dream big. You never know who may say yes, and it doesn't hurt to ask. It really doesn't hurt to ask. If you do that in a polite and really unassuming way, it can't hurt to ask. And so dream big and make the ask. So we talked about the triple win. We go really in depth on this in our course, but just a really high level here. It's a win for the audience of your influencer. And that is important because if the audience isn't winning, the influencer really isn't winning because they are all about their audience. Otherwise, they wouldn't have one. And so you got to make it a win for the audience. What are they getting out of this? Some exclusive content, some giveaways, what are they getting? And a win for the influencer and a win, obviously, for you. What's yours? And so think through all three of those, and you can brainstorm on the spreadsheet that we have there on what those 3 wins are. If you're wondering about what the audience is, we'll give you a little bit more here because this is the hardest part. The win for the audience, we kind of break it into 4 of our favorite go-to categories: content, exclusive, rare, super relevant content, community, something special like Melissa said, they get to be a part of an exclusive group, a community. Freebies, people love freebies. That's why you see so many giveaways and downloads and things like that. So that's a great win for the audience. And then opportunities, maybe they get tickets to an event or discounts for something, invitations and those types of ideas. So these are all potential wins for the audience, and there's so many more out there if you brainstorm. So you got to kind of think through that, and then again, think through the win for the influencer, and think through the win for you, which may just be new followers or donors. And once you kind of identify what those 3 wins are, you're off to a good start on kind of crafting a successful campaign. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay, so I know we're running out of time and we want to save a few minutes for Q&A. But I just wanted to let you guys know, if you're saying, hey, I need more on this, I'm still got questions, we only had so much time today. We want to, of course, tell you to go download this if you haven't yet. We have a video in there that might be helpful. We've got a how-to, a checklist. So make sure you go to this link and download the kit. And then, of course, our course, the Marketing Anatomy of Growing Nonprofit. We'd love to tell you more about that real quick. It's got 8 modules. This is just one of them, influencer marketing. We talk about your website, your brand, social media in general, email marketing, and advertising. 8 modules that are going to help you really in all areas of marketing. You're going to get free downloads left and right. Every module has more downloads so that you just have templates and exercises and everything you need to actually build your plan. And then you're going to get support and community. We have an exclusive group that you'll be a part of, and you'll get access to our team. We'll be able to continue to help you through building your marketing strategy. So the best part, in my opinion, is all the things you create. As you go through the course, you're able to create all the most important pieces of your marketing strategy and your even fundraising strategy. So you'll get into your brand and audience personas, your marketing strategy and funnel. We'll talk about how to redesign your website. Your fundraising plan can come out of this. Social media strategy, we've got documents for that. Downloads for your email marketing, of course, influencers, and then advertising, Facebook, Instagram, Google advertising, and we teach you how to do all of that in the course. So the cost is $997 or $99 a month for 12 months for the full course. You get immediate access and lifetime access. You get it forever, and you can pass that down to others in your organization. You can, because we have some bonuses that allow you to share this. And so let me go through those real quick. If you are able to join in, we've kind of opened up an opportunity to have a few extra bonuses. So there's 4 of these. I'll move quickly. Bonus number 1, if you buy by Friday, you can get these. You'll get an invitation for free, no extra cost, to our Facebook group, which we're kind of giving a lot of extra value and input and Q&A there. Bonus number 2 is you can actually have 2 other people besides you get access to the course for free. So if you have a colleague on your team, maybe your boss or someone on your board that you think would be good to invite into the course, we'll let you invite 2 others for free into the course so they can take it with you, which makes a big difference in the end. We also have a mini course on board engagement and how to get your board involved in fundraising. And we think this is a great add-on because your board sometimes is one of the biggest opportunities for growing your audience and your fundraising. And so we want to help you out with this mini course, which has lots of helpful downloads and videos to help you get started there. And then the fourth bonus, and maybe one of the most exciting, is just an hour of time with someone on our team just to go deep, dedicated to your organization alone, one-on-one, probably over Zoom, unless you're local. And we would just hang out and work on your strategy and build your marketing fundraising strategy together. So all of that's for free if you can buy the course by Friday. And I know you may need to get approval or run this by someone. So we've given you a week and a day. So not this Friday, but next Friday is the deadline. You can buy the course anytime, but if you want all these 4 bonuses, we would just ask that you go ahead and try and make that purchase by next Friday. That's it. And I know we're almost out of time here. So we wanted to both open it up for questions for a second, but also just give you our email addresses. We really want to be available to you if you have questions later on. And so you can ask them now, you can ask them later, but we're here to help.
And I still have my final prize to give out too.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that. Maybe we should do a random prize winner instead of the game. I don't know.
Jesse, we did have one question come in through our Q&A. They're asking, do you recommend partnering with competitor NPOs who have the same audience, or should we be looking for an organization in another industry instead?
I would say yes and yes, both. You can't, I love the idea of competitors partnering up, but it might be easier and less friction on the other side if you went to someone that's in a different industry, because you never know, they may not be so open-minded, the competitor. But I think it's totally fine to work with a competitor NPO. I'm all about, you know, the idea of, hey, there's really, we're not competing with one another. There's plenty of resources. Let's partner together and let's collaborate. So I love that idea, but I would say yes to both.
And Daryl, oh, sorry, Melissa, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's if they choose to do the $99 per month, do they still get access to the additional resources?
Yes, absolutely, for sure, Daryl. Great question. Any other questions here? I love that we actually do some of our competitors' water projects on the ground. That's great. See, that's that mindset of, you know, we're here to do this together. It's about the end impact, right? It's not about the competition. And so I love that. I've seen that type of mindset really produce massive growth for multiple organizations because they were not afraid to unite and partner and collaborate. And really, you know, all ships rose in that scenario. So I believe in it.
Well, Jesse, let's try it real fast. Five quick questions about a brand that makes you better, and let everybody guess if we can.
Okay.
5 questions about a brand that makes, I'll make it easy for you, that helps you live better.
Oh, okay. Is it a retailer?
It's a retailer.
Is it based out of our little corner of the world, Northwest Arkansas?
It's based out of Bentonville, Arkansas.
All right, then I don't need 5 questions. It's Walmart.
It is Walmart. So
Awesome.
who would you like? Yes. Is it Dina or Dinah? If you want to email me at melissa@brancheslab.com, I will send you this $20 Walmart gift card. So send me that email and I will mail this to you. So thank you all so much for coming. We really, really appreciate you. And we look forward to hopefully staying in touch.
Yes, thanks, Jesse and Melissa, so much for such a great presentation. I had a really great time watching everyone participate in the workshop, and I learned a lot of new facts, so that was great. I wanted to remind everyone that this session was recorded, so you'll receive the recording and Jesse's and Melissa's slide deck by the end of today, along with information on some of the resources that they mentioned earlier on. Before we sign off, I wanted to let you all know that our next webinar coming up will hopefully be a great way to end off everyone's summer, stepping out of our regular monthly programming. Keela is going to be hosting a week-long conference at the end of September. That's Donor Experience Week. It's a free virtual capacity building event designed to help nonprofits build long-lasting, meaningful donor relationships. This year's event centers on rethinking stewardship in the digital age. So more relevant topics that we've got going on this year. And it will be held from September 27th to October 1st. So if you haven't already registered for that, Toby has popped the sign up link in the chat, so you can take a look. And that's it for us. Thank you guys so much for coming. And thank you everyone for asking such great questions. I'll pass it off to Jesse and Melissa for a final goodbye.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you all, for real. Thank you, because you're doing important work. If you're here, you're doing important work, and just really grateful for that. I also wanted to let you know that if you are interested in the course, I realize we didn't put a link in there or tell you where to find it, but it's actually on that download page. You can just scroll down and click. I also put a direct link in the chat, so you can go click that now and open the window before the chat closes. But thank you for the important work you're doing. It's an honor to be here with you and hopefully help out in a little tiny way today.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We appreciate your time that you spent with us.
Awesome. That's all.
All right, that's all. Thanks, everyone. I'll give it 2 more seconds in case anyone wants to grab those links, and then we will close the webinar for today.
Awesome. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.